Hello and welcome back. In today's video, I want to describe to you how we usually go about getting new tenants to our rental properties. And as of right now, we're actually in the process of getting new tenants in one house here in Florida and one apartment over in Sweden. So I just wanted to give you a little talk about how we usually go about in this process. For most of our properties, we manage them ourselves, and in that we also have to find the tenants ourselves. So when we realize that a unit will be coming up for rent, first thing we usually do is put the word out there a little bit. We tell some people we know that there might be a unit coming up, so if you know of anyone, or we ask the tenants moving out, if you know anyone, if they've been good, that is. So sometimes just the word of mouth is enough to get them rented right away again, which is always convenient. And that's actually what might be happening with both these units. One of the units, the one here in Florida, amongst the people we're going to meet there to see if they're a good fit, is a plumber we used for a plumbing issue not too far ago. And then in Sweden, we're also in contact with co-workers of parents and so on. So we'll see, but we're also doing this normal procedure that we usually do when we're about to go look for renters, and that begins, as you might imagine, with advertising the properties to make sure that we get them out there. And for advertising a property in Florida, we use Craigslist, and if we are advertising a property in Sweden, we most often use Blocket. We have tried Facebook a few times, but I find it being too annoying because they have these quick buttons where people can just click a button that says still available, or I'm interested, or but they got, I don't know, they just keep clicking them, and I answer, you have to sit down and give a more thorough answer, and it takes forever. So I'm not a huge fan of that, because you have so many people clicking that they're interested, but in reality maybe 5% of all those people are actually a contender for the property. So it ends up being too much work. It's also, I don't know, it feels like it's a little too personal through Facebook, because they can always go find your profile or whatnot. And I prefer this being business for it to stay a little separated and on the side. So that's about that. Next step then, so we advertise, and our advertisement might look a little bit like this. It says $825 a month for a 2-bedroom, 1,200 square foot house. Clean house, beach cabin with 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2 kitchens. This house is actually a little bit different, because we have it. It used to be a duplex, but it wasn't permitted, so we opened it up to one big house again and rent the whole house. And then we got some pictures, exterior with the parking, and then as you enter, and the different rooms, and some more exterior photos, the yard. And I also put in this, since it's a bit of a different floor plan, I also added this here layout so they can see what the floor plan is. And a few more pictures of the different rooms. And then here on the right you have a map that shows where it is. And then in this house we allow pets, because we've had pets in there before. And it's got washer dryer hookups and off-street parking. And then the ad reads, we are renting a house in Arequipa, close to the Mexican Gulf between Hudson and Hernando Beach. Arequipa is known for its fishing, and there is a convenience store and boat ramp within a walking distance from the property. US 19 and Super Walmart is just 4 miles down the road, and downtown Tampa is about 1 hour drive. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-kitchen house, almost like an attached mother-in-law suite. See floor plan for more information. The house has washer-dryer hookups. Trash, lawn care are included in the rent, so the property will be kept clean. Before moving in, we will need first month's rent and $1,000 security deposit. We will check your credit and your background. Proof of income and references are appreciated. If you are interested, please email us with some information about yourself, and we will get back to you right away. Thank you. and that's how the ad looks. Hopefully that starts bringing in attention. So then you start getting emails from potential tenants where most of them just still, like, even in those emails, that most of them just ask, is this still available? I'm interested. This looks fantastic. Or you get some of these really desperate stories where people write out their whole life story, and it's just one of those copy paste things where you can tell they send it to everybody, and like, I need a house ASAP, I've hit hard times, this feels like it will change my life, even though I've been on drugs and divorced and bad credit and hospital bills and criminal record and previous evictions. This is the time I'm going to become the perfect tenant, and this is the perfect house to start my new life. I wish we could help all of those, but truth is, a track record says a lot about a person, and even though I really don't like how life makes you being a bit judgmental as a property owner, you need to be careful, because it comes with too much pain to not have people following the contracts that you enter. So to me, it's quite straightforward. You have this house, the commodity, and their tenant wants to live in that house, and the exchange of service providing that house is done through signing a contract where they agree to pay you every month for the use of the house, and it's quite straightforward. So all we have to do is make sure that house is okay, and we provide what we put in the contract, and all the tenant has to do is pay the rent they're supposed to and take care of that house in accordance to that contract. So it's a very simple business deal, but it blows my mind how hard it is to get people to follow it, and like, there's always this very strained emotional investment in it somehow, or like, I don't know, I don't like the normal how most tenant landlord relationships are. They're not very nice. But to me, they should be, because there's like no reason for them not to be nice. We right now, knock on wood, have a really good set of tenants, and we're all getting along well, and it's just so much nicer when we're all nice to each other and just follow the contract we entered. It makes life easy. So we put an ad out, we start getting emails, and then as all those emails come in, we usually just email back with the questions we want answered. So we might ask, like, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself? How many of you will be moving in? Do you have any pets? What's your credit like? Where are you working? Why are you moving? Where are you moving from? Would you be willing to provide us with some references so we can call maybe previous landlords or your boss or someone else to verify that their story is correct? And we always ask, do you have any criminal history or any evictions? And now obviously they can always lie as much as they want, but most are very honest, and it's a good start to like, from there we can move on. And then when we have that done, we pick out the most solid contenders, the ones that seems like they might be the best fit for our rental, and the ones that seems to be able to provide what we need to feel comfortable renting to them. And with that, we start asking, like, about meeting up at the property and when would be a good time, and we also let them know what we need for them to move in, which is usually what we do here in Florida, is take $1,000 security deposit plus first month's rent. I know a lot of people go with first and last month's rent and then a security deposit, but I find it better to do just a bigger security deposit and first month's rent, as they're always allowed to use last month's rent as last month's rent. And that means that money is gone, so if the rental agreement is over and they're about to move out and use their last month's rent, and you just have a small security deposit, that's much less, what do you call it, like that gives, they don't have much to lose walking away from it if the house is left in a mess or in really bad state. Versus if you have a bigger security deposit that they get when they give you the keys back and show that they give the house back in a condition that it should be like, that gives you a little bit more power to put your, like, it makes it easier for you to make sure they do what they agree on in the contract, which means, like, take care of the house, give it back in a similar state as it was when they took it over. So that's how we do it over here. In Sweden, we actually don't take any security deposit because we've been so lucky with the type renters we get in the area where we own those properties. So we just take out first month's rent and they move in. We then meet, like I said, I'll actually show you. So I can use this small camera to show you. So like I go through all the emails, I get the phone numbers, I set up meetings, and I tell everybody the time we're about to meet. So let's see, there we're filming. And then I have like a little notepad like this where I write down who we're gonna meet, where and when. Like so. And then I get all their phone numbers, and I always make sure to verify with them before we go to meet them too. So usually like this one, I'm gonna go out tomorrow Saturday, we'll meet customers at the property, and I have different times set up, usually within a half hour between them all, and I meet, hopefully I'll do tomorrow probably 5 different tenants that seem like good fits, and it's always good to have a few set up, because you'd be surprised how often we're stood up. I don't like that, but I've probably had 10 to 12 times I've gone out to show properties, and the potential tenants don't even show up. No text, no nothing, they just disappear. So what I do now is I set up this list and the times, and then I take their phone numbers and we text and verify, and then I have them all text me to verify that they are, or confirming that they are about to go out and meet us at the agreed time. So I tell them to text me an hour or two before to confirm the meeting. And with that, I don't have to go to the properties and then sit around waiting for no one to show up. And it also shows that they are like, on point and they're there and they're doing the right thing, because it's not that much to ask. Do you confirm a meeting and show up on time? And then as they arrive to the property, that's where I usually see, I can quickly decide or like figure out what type of people they are. But first thing they do is when they pull in with their cars, you'll see if they park where you expect them to park. If they, because somehow I've realized a lot of times I can have weird people flying in real fast and parking like halfway out on the lawn with the front wheels of the car like way out on the grass, or halfway up the curb, or like crooked, or blocking in my car or some other people's car or the neighbor's car. Like no, they can't see the system, and they can't seem to follow what the system would be, even though it might be very clear that you pull in the driveway and you park in front of the garage, or if there's a 2-car driveway you park next to the other one, not like sideways behind it halfway out the lawn. So that's a big one to me. I like to see them, honestly. That I know it's funny, but if I see them park cleverly and then have a decently maintained car that's kept clean, those are like almost ready to move in credentials, because if they follow systems, keep a clean car and take care of their stuff, they're most likely going to follow the contract and take care of the house. So top tip is to like just be there when they arrive and see how they arrive, kind of check their car, check them if they're clean, and then from there you move on to shake hands. Hopefully they have a firm handshake and look you in the eye and seem like good, confident, normal people that you can hopefully trust. That's a good start. And if you have a good start, then you take your time to walk around the property with them, show them around, see what they want. Sometimes when there's really good tenants that I actually want, that you can tell have a lot of options, I even start selling the property a little bit to help motivate them to move in, but very carefully to make sure that they don't get what they don't want, because in the end you want a tenant to really want to live in the house so they stay for a long time. So then, show them around, we go through the house, and if they're all happy about it, we keep talking about how to move on, and I remind them that, we'll need $1,000 in security deposit to lock it in, hopefully as soon as possible, and from that, you move on with giving us the first month's rent, and as soon as we have that rent, you can move in, we'll give you the keys. I also try to give them a copy of the contract. So I recommend you to go see a real estate attorney where you live and help them make you a contract, because it's always good to have a really solid contract, and it'll help you if there's ever disputes between you and a tenant. The contract is like really valuable, and you only pay for it once, and then you have this contract that you can just copy and use for all your properties that you rent. So a really good contract is a great way to start. So I hand one of our contracts over to the tenants. I don't sign it or anything, it's all blank, but I give it to them to read through over the next few days. I also ask them to give me a copy of their driver's license. I like to see copies of some pay stubs, and I like some references. And then with that information, we go make sure that, they can pay, and credit. Sometimes I ask for a credit. credit report to see if they have good credit. A good credit is always a good thing because that means they have something to lose in not paying. If they have bad credit, they have nothing to lose in not paying rent, in the sense that they don't lose their credit. But if you have a really nice credit, a nice credit is very valuable, so then they risk losing that by not paying. But then we go with the driver's license and the stuff information and run some background search. I know there are programs online and they can probably be really useful for some, but me and my wife, we just go through, we find their Facebook profiles, because that can say quite a lot about who they are as people, and we check the surrounding counties, criminal records and court records, to make sure that their story adds up and that everything they told us when meeting at the property is true. And if it's all green light from there, we meet up again. We have them bring the deposit and the first month's rent, and we sign the contracts together, give them the keys, and then we're good to go. New tenants in and moving forward just like that. And that's how we do it.